Hey everyone. So I have over 1,600 physical video games and about 1,000 more that are digital only. I realize there's no way I'm ever going to be able to get through all of them or talk about all of them, so I wanted to use a random wheel spinner to help aid in this. You're basically going to have two different wheels going. One wheel is going to have a genre of game, the other wheel is going to have a console that I own. They're going to spin simultaneously, stop at the same time, and based on where they land, I'm going to choose a game from my collection that meets that criteria and talk about it to you. You might get something like fighting game on NES or puzzle game on PC. Now I'm going to do 5 different spins each time I do one of these videos. We'll have 5 games to talk about. And this is going to be called the Curated Collectors Challenge Series. Let's get to the video. So for a horror game on PlayStation Vita, I chose Soul Sacrifice. Now admittedly there was an enhanced version of this that came out, Soul Sacrifice Delta. I believe that was a digital exclusive. I don't think they ever made a physical, or if they did, I believe it was exclusive to Asian markets and only accessible via Play Asia. But this game, this is interesting because in it, you're basically like an innocent bystander who's in effectively a hellscape. Think of like a full-on Oblivion. And there's this evil sorcerer named like Magsar, and he has to stay alive by slaving humans and then basically like eating their souls to keep living. So you're a human that's suffering up next to be like in line to be devoured by the sorcerer. And while you're there waiting in effectively hell, there's a weird looking book that you come across. It's like a sorcerer's tome or a sorcerer's book. It's got this weird looking eyeball on it, and the eyeball basically starts like talking to you, and the book starts talking to you. And it allows you to kind of revisit past memories that impacted this sorcerer. And what it's trying to do is basically trying to give you a way to level up, strengthen up, and find a way to beat the sorcerer. Really interesting how this all happens. Now, admittedly, I've not yet completed this game, but the environment, like, it literally reads like something out of like classic literature of like individuals being tormented in hell and just really gnarly, gruesome, gory kind of stuff going on. Definitely check this game out if you have a PlayStation Vita and if you're a fan of the horror genre. I don't think you'll be too disappointed. And I have heard that there are some quality of life enhancements that came out with the Delta version of this game. So maybe start there and let me know what you think about this. So for a platformer on Xbox 360, I had to go with Rayman Origins. So this game's been ported over to multiple consoles. I want to say if you have a modern console or a console that's at least like 10 or 15 years old, you've got a way to play this. So let me be clear, this game is absolutely gorgeous. This is how you do 2D, 3D the right way. I mean, everything on this, you're side-scrolling left to right, so there's the 2D part, but the images, the graphics that you see, vibrant colors, beautiful 3D rendering. It's got some elements that cel shading that people go gaga over with like Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, but there's got a lot of color pop in this game too. Excellent platforming mechanics. Now, me, I'm not always a go-to kind of person in platformers, so Rayman, a lot of these games I'm experiencing a little bit late to the party. I grew up on the Mario genre of platforming games, but these are outstanding in their own right. They offer a lot of unique replayability in terms of finding some of your allies that have been locked up in prisons or jail cells. There's like special things to find in each level. There's unlockable characters, bonus characters. There's a good amount of challenge to this game too, because some of these levels, I'm not really like ripping through them easily like you think. I'm like stopping, like rethinking some stuff because I'm trying to chuck through and end up dying prematurely, or have to go back and kind of rethink an approach. A lot of fun, a lot going on with this game. If you've not played a Rayman game, definitely check out Rayman Origins. You will not be disappointed. For strategy on PlayStation 4, I had to go with Overcooked, the Gourmet Edition. So let me tell you about this game. This game is frantic, it is stressful, it can be frustrating as all get out, but it's extremely fun. Now the story doesn't really matter, but the game starts, there's this giant like meatball that's attacking the world, the planet. It's trying to devour everything. And basically, to go back and like make sure that this doesn't happen, to make sure you can avoid this Armageddon sort of scenario, you have to go back through time, learn how to perfect and master a lot of culinary recipes, and then hopefully when you reface the monster, you can appease him. And you're working for this dude called the Onion King. You're in the Onion Kingdom. It's really kind of funny how this all plays out. But I say the story doesn't really matter because when you're actually playing the game, you're playing each level, the story's not really anything that really crops up or comes to mind. All you're doing is focusing on how you can get through the mission, because the clock is ticking. There's all sorts of stuff going on where, first off, the kitchens, horrible design. I mean, if you were to invite someone on here like Chef Robert Irvine or Gordon Ramsay or whatever, and they were to like inspect the kitchen, they would have a field day. Inefficiencies galore, fire hazards galore, nothing makes any sense. Like, you grab your potatoes on one side of the kitchen, you got to run all the way to the other to actually chop them up, then you got to run all the way back to put them in a pot to cook them, then you got to run all the way back again to plate them and serve them to customers. It makes no freaking sense. There are way more efficient ways to design kitchens. I'm not going to go too deep on this rant because this is more of a simulator on cooking and beating the time, not really designing a kitchen. That'll be a different video for a different game. But this one, admittedly, this is a game I received the Platinum Trophy in. It's one of the few. I'm not really a Platinum Trophy hunter. I don't have the patience to go after stuff like that and try to do menial tasks that don't mean anything to me. Suck the joy I have for gaming out just to get a ding pop up that I got some sort of trophy. This game, however, I loved so much, I wanted to perfect every level. I just inherently received the Platinum Trophy. So in a nutshell, every map you're on, every level, there's a kitchen. You usually have a partner that's there with you. Now, this is built for couch co-op. Unfortunately, I don't have any friends, so I don't have any way to really play this. But you could play by your own, and you just use like the L1, R1 triggers to switch between characters. So I'll have one person that's like on autopilot, basically chopping up something. I'll have the other person running around, fetching stuff, washing dishes, whatever. You just get in the zone or switching back and forth. There is an element of needing to get good at this if you're playing it on your own. So when I popped this back in for the gameplay footage, it was my first time playing this game in probably 5 years or more. I felt a lot like Neo in The Matrix, that scene where Morpheus says he's beginning to believe. That's exactly how I felt getting my skills back at this game. Like, I slowly started to get the progression back and not feel as stressed out or frantic about it, and just kick back and like understand the mechanics of what I need to do to master the game. So there's going to be timers going off. You got like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, however many minutes to score a certain number of points on each kitchen level. And effectively you score the points by completing orders that come up in a specific order. And if you are able to complete the order quickly, you're going to get a good time bonus or a good score bonus for that. If you're a little late on getting it, you might get reduced points. But every level has a certain barrier threshold to get like 1 coin, 2 coin, 3 gold coins, that sort of thing. And I'm just making up numbers, but it might be 100 points, 120 points, 150 points. And you're basically trying to figure out how you can cook your dishes as quickly as possible, get them correct, not overcook, not overburn something, plate it, and to the customer to rack up the points in the limited time you have because the clock's ticking. Like I said, it can be very stressful, but it can also be chaotic fun too. If you haven't checked out Overcooked, definitely give it a look. It's a game, so I'm fully supporting physical versions, don't get me wrong. But with digital being all the craze right now and everything that Sony and everyone's talking about, you can get a copy of this digitally on like Steam's store. It's roughly $2 or $3. Definitely check it out. Next up, Party on PS2. This one was tricky for me because I'm used to that era. The party games were mainly on Nintendo, and I'm thinking like Mario Party, Nintendo 64 and Mario Party. However, Rock Band for PlayStation 2. Now I remember when this came out, 2008 or whatever, 2007 maybe, I was in college, and for the longest time, about a full year, this is the only game that you heard people playing if you walked down the dorm room halls. And it was always like that annoying group of kids that like wanted to be bros or like went Goodwill thrift shopping and like thought they were cool because they were doing that. And they'd meet up like, "Hey Chad, you want to play this game?" And they play like the same song for like 4 hours straight, just trying to get a better score on it. You know who I'm talking about. If you grew up when this game was popular, you know exactly the type of person I'm talking about. And don't lie. Basically, though, this game's a lot of fun. You need 4 players in a band. You've got a lead singer, you got a guitar player, percussionist, and I want to say you got like a bass player. So basically 2 guitar players. I lied. I don't have the full setup on PlayStation 2 anymore. I have it on the Nintendo Wii, ironically enough, and I've got like the Beatles Rock Band over there. But anyway, through this game, you get together with your group. It's basically like karaoke, but worse because no longer you don't just deal with bad singing. You can deal with bad everything. You have someone offbeat on the drums, off on the guitar. The guitar, for what it's worth, it's got a lot of like that Guitar Hero-esque vibe to it, which I dig. And this game came out after Guitar Hero, so it was a nice little progression to go from, oh, you've kind of mastered your axe playing, now let's bring on a full band. But this game, I spent a good amount of time with it, not as much as the people down the hallway from me, but still a lot of fun. Now, you do have some licensed tunes on here. This one in particular, it's got Blue Oyster Cult's Don't Fear the Reaper. There's Bon Jovi, Boston, Foo Fighters, Garbage, Kiss, Metallica, Nirvana, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Radiohead, Stone Temple Pilots. A lot of good bangers on here. Fortunately, I can't play any of that stuff because the copyright strikes. YouTube's going to rip it down. But Rock Band. I think if you haven't played it, I think you've at least heard of this game, or at least like the sister series, Guitar Hero. Okay, last but not least, Simulation on Xbox One. For this one, I had to go with Family Feud. Now, to be clear, this is not a great game. It's not like one of those games I'm like, oh, it's a hidden gem, go get it. Not at all. It's an Ubisoft game. So, they're in that cookie cutter sort of vibe of just rinse, repeat, copy a game over, spit it out, churn it out. This game suffers from some licensing issues. Mainly, there's no Steve Harvey. There's just some generic white dude that's the host. I think they try to give him like a cool sounding name, but it's more corny than cool. And then you play through this. I was playing through it for this game footage, and there were some questions that, I clearly had answers that I thought were pretty obvious. Not so much. So it's kind of fun, like trying to understand where that disconnect could be between human logic and artificial intelligence that's supporting the answers. I will say, however, this game, the fun factor increases exponentially when you actually do play with people. I know I just mocked myself with not having any friends for Overcooked, but this one, it's actually, I feel like you need friends to play it, because trying it on my own, yeah, I can go through a category and try to guess all 5 or 6 descriptive words that match and go up against a whole family. That's not really that fun. It is fun if you have friends, relatives, significant others playing with you. And part of the fun is like understanding how they might respond to a question. Because let's be honest, if you watch the show, that's where the fun is. Like the person that says the out of the left field WTF comment, or that shock reaction that Steve Tyler gives you, or Steve Perry. What's his name? Steve Tyler, Steve Perry. Let me know in the comments. I don't know this guy's name. I'm getting him confused with the guy from Aerosmith. Makes sense, right? Rock Band was right here. Anywho, not a game that I'd say like, oh, go pick it up. There's going to be a run on the stores. You're not going to find this. No, not at all. But, this game frequently I see it for $15, $10 or less, especially on some of those sales you'll find on Amazon, or if you go into a physical brick and mortar, it's usually one of the ones that's in the clearance pile. You can get it for cheap. It's a fun time for a limited dollar investment. I mean, don't go out and pay $60 for this thing brand new like people probably did years ago. Or maybe it was one of those ones that started at 40 because they started doing that for some of these. But Family Feud. I mean, if you know anything about the TV show, it's what you can expect from playing this video game. Alright, so there we go. We got 5 more games in the books. Thanks so much for watching this Curated Collector Challenge Series for the month of July. Looking forward to doing another one for you next month in August. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts in the comments based on the picks that came up, based on the wheel spins. As always, everyone, I want to thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for subscribing. Catch you next time. Take care.